welcome to Talking Horses. Andy Serling, joined by my good friend Ernie Munich. Ernie, it's nice to have you back.
Nice to see you.
Got a lot of glasses on.
I do. Those are my goggles.
You're ready for that.
That's
okay.
it.
Well, we don't have a lot of time to go through it, so we're not going to really spend a lot of time going on what's going on with Ernie's life. Ernie will give us a quick rundown of his duties here at the New York Racing Association. Head over to NYRA Bets if you're not a member. We'll match up to $200. Use the promo code Big A. The Big A's on vacation, but the Big A is, you know, I never got a promo code. Is there going to be a Big E next for you, for Ernie?
Oh, man, a promo code is pretty cool.
That could be me. I'd be the little A. I'd be a tiny A, minuscule A. Anyhow, there's a $10 return. Head to NYRA Bets if you want to find out about this. You bet $10 across the board, and I guess if your horse doesn't hit the board, you get $10 back. So, Ernie, you're sort of a NYRA videographer. Would you just, is that how you describe yourself?
Yes, that definitely now. And I work with a great crew.
You do?
And I work with an amazing crew.
Jay does a great job. You work Jay's an unrealized gem.
Oh, he's very realized.
Well, he doesn't. People don't know him sort of outside of NYRA.
No, but they would know if I think my buyer has gone way up over the year, and it's mostly because of Jay that I get to work near him and see how good his stuff is, so I have to up my game.
Yeah, you both do.
And with Bobby, of course, in production, and we have a good, solid crew, and we work very hard.
You do. You do. You're a huge part of our team. We couldn't do those shows in Saratoga, especially, but all year, really, without you guys. And there's great appreciation from all of us. It's nice to have you here. And so when people ask me about you, I always say, well, Ernie works for us. He's downstairs, hidden there. But you did a lot of good video stuff on your own before you worked for us.
No, but
so you're not just riding the coattails of others, Ernie. I know you're very
No,
modest.
I'm not, but I you want to get better. I'm sure you know that. No matter what you're doing, and we have a lot of respect for what we all do there. As you said, the whole crew, from Jody, the producers, who works harder than. And I must say this though, and I almost forgot this.
It's only
I know we got to go.
that drags us down.
No, I mean this from the depths of my soul. I can't be more serious. No matter what I do, no one works harder than the handicapper. I can't. I'm not sucking up to anybody.
Okay, time to start the show.
Well,
I can feel some sucking up coming up, but thank you.
And it goes for all handicap, not public or private. No one works harder.
Sneeds in the first race. We'll take a look at Sneeds up at Saratoga. We got a replay from 3 back, which also involved Bebeau, who came out. Sneeds claimed by Rudy Rodriguez. I don't know if you looked up the trainer stat I'm going to put up afterwards, but Rudy Rodriguez's numbers are sensational off the claim. It's going to be a very short price. And Ernie, I don't think either one of us are either one of us trying to beat this horse?
No. And I took a quick look on that stat, and it's just unbelievable. And I just didn't have the guts, basically, whether it's off the claim or not. And it all points this way, and I wish I could be clever, but not the case.
Yeah, I mean, Rudy has fabulous numbers. Maidens off the claim on the dirt. They're just, I mean, what can you say? He's 4 for 7 with routers, so it's not like it's a bad number with routers and good with sprinters. Tremendous number. I thought the other horse in the race was the 4 Cabillo, I'm guessing is the pronunciation.
I think so.
And that's a guess. I just thought Kieran does seem to do fairly well with these horses. Seems like he has some sort of mediocre-looking maidens that'll make drops in these dirt races, and they do seem over time to run well.
And, you know, I like the jock. I think it's a live jock despite the win percentage.
Richard Migliori's his agent, so Ernie's going to be sucking up to Richie on the show, but don't tell anybody.
In the very best.
He is doing, I'm teasing, he is doing a good job. Richie's doing a great job getting him live mounts.
This horse, like maybe it's the nature of the race, the nature of the beast in this race. You know, it's just, he seems like desperation. You stealing a line from you in this race in the plunging. You got to go somewhere.
Where's he going to run him?
Where's he going to run?
Kieran's. I don't think if somebody wants to claim this horse for a quarter,
right.
I think they'll be able to get on with their lives. Shadwell and Kieran, they'll be okay with potentially losing this horse. Race number 2. Race number 2 is an interesting race because essentially it's 2 turf sprinters against a lot of turf routers. Yeah. And we've talked about this ad infinitum in the past. The turf routers rarely transfer to the turf sprinters. And also very important to note, the turf rails, which were down last week, and we saw the inside on both courses be a significant advantage, they're up now. There's 12 feet. They're up 12 feet on the outer, and they're up 9 feet on the inner. And that may seem insignificant to you, but it isn't to me. To me, it eliminate that inside bias. I think it's fairer for everybody. Did well with it, made some money with it last week, but the reality is you want to think that every horse, if they're not good enough to win, you're not good enough to win, but you don't want horses that are just getting no chance to win because the track is infecting them. And we have tracks that are primarily fair here. That's the biggest turf bias I've seen here the entire. I can't remember a significant bias on both courses like that.
I heard you and Maggie talking about it, and Maggie even walked by as a heads up, and I would not have known if Maggie had mentioned it, but I also didn't know that there was a change today. So
well, I figured there would be. If you look through the fields, or you go from 14 to 12 in the outer, and you go from 12 to 10 in the inner, but they also have to move them.
Very interesting, though. I mean, part of me is like would love that type of thing, and not everybody's tied into that situation, and it's a great way to make money. But now that they're doing what they should do, I guess.
Oh yeah, well you also want to be run on sort of fresher ground because they're running more, and it'll make it fairer. We'll show the replay of Merlin's Muse finishing ahead of Stone Factor. I took Stone Factor, and I'll be interested to see which one actually ends up favored here. Now, Stone Factor obviously would have benefited from the course that we were dealing with last week because she clearly figures to be the inside speed. Having said that, she's still the controlling speed here, and I just took her over Merlin's Muse. I don't really want anybody else here. Factoring's the only other turf sprinter really worth mentioning, and she just may not be that good. And same, I guess, Linda's Ballet.
Yeah, I think Stone Factor's gone. It's not, here. I mean, do I want her at this price? She's won as the favorite before. It's just been a long time. Those are clearly the two turf sprinters.
Yeah, I just don't really know where else you're supposed to go. I mean, you've got the 12 Purely Lucky third, and I hear you. She may be as talented, if not more talented, than anybody in here, but I have no confidence that she's going to be effective sprinting.
Yeah, I wonder why Leah's running, or maybe this is the only spot.
Take a shot.
Just take a shot.
Why not?
It can't hurt, and it's been running well. I mean, it's been running okay, and this seems like a live spot, but and there are no killers. I mean, Stone Factor's not the most reliable turf horse, right?
So I agree completely.
Take a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Merlin's Muse is probably more reliable than Stone Factor. Yeah. Interesting that Joelle, who had that great week last week, and a lot of it, whether it's being attuned to the bias, it's the way Joelle rides. Those turf courses were built for the way Joelle rides. He's there, he always finds his position inside, it seems, whenever possible, and it just seems to work out. And even with closers, if you're spending the majority of the time on the rail, it makes your job easier. Race number 3, and we talked about this. Water White, for people wondering why Water White and Persisto are scratched, I have no idea about Mirabelle Me, but this is the problem you run into when you put yourself in this situation. They're part of a 6-horse field we're running tomorrow. So you knew if you looked at, like me and anybody that was looking at Friday as well as looking at Thursday's card or Saturday, you knew these horses would come out. And obviously they were major players here. Lake Avenue is going to be a huge favorite in this race and is probably going to win. We'll take a look last time. Thought she ran well, but she's got an extra furlong. And the horse who's on the far, far outside, Kansas Kiss, who was actually favored in that race, who I bet off a trip first time out. I don't know how good she is, but she has had excuse in both her starts. And I'm going to give Kansas Kiss one more chance to show she can win. Lake Avenue was supposed to win last time.
Absolutely.
I know that she lost to a good horse who was an okay second in our attempted next time, Ernie, but I don't like horses that are supposed to win, and now she's got to get an extra furlong. But maybe she'll just control and just gallop around in front.
Downstairs, I was talking to Bobby about this race, Bobby Klatt, and that's what I wanted to tell him, and I think I might have told him. That was my one problem with it. I had the feelings it was clear, and it's the type of race you should win, and now is going to be an enormous favorite. And I scratched into her as well, but I'm going to take a shot in a couple. I'm going to use your horse, which I didn't realize before.
Ernie, you're just ringing or something.
I am. I got all the bells and whistles.
Do you have an implant or something going on
it's
over there we didn't know about?
It's possible. It's been some tough months. So I do think Lake Avenue is obviously the horse to beat. It's going to be I'm 3 to 5. I mean, it depends on maybe the firster.
Maybe less. I mean, right, as you say, but the firsters, you've got Leah Giamatti. Well, Shug's horse. I mean, you have to talk about Seaside Retreat.
Damn.
Boca Grande.
Won both the Comely and the one other stake over this course. So
I love these Phipps pedigree. 3 of 4 of the 4 foals from this dam were pretty solid. Joelle's riding. I wouldn't rule this horse out completely. You've got her second. I have her third. Yeah. I know it's a 4-horse field, but I agree. I mean, I think that the 7 is okay, and I have some confidence that 3 is better than she looks on paper. But if Seaside Retreat's good, she could win this race.
I agree.
Well, we'll see what happens. Yeah. Race number 3. 4th race. You picked my idiotic horse, but we'll start out by talking about the race. It's interesting. David's probably right. He's got Dancing Dunhill, a much shorter price. And, you do have a horse Just in Time for Wine, who was 13 to 1, and Dancing Dunhill was odds on last time. But Just in Time for Wine just buried her in that race, buried him. I don't know where it came from, and I want to see it again. But on the surface of things, why is Dancing Dunhill's supposed to beat that horse?
Watching that,
even though I picked her to beat her.
Well, me too, and I'm thinking just because the horse had the horse in front of him that just had such an easy trip in that race that I just got all the confidence in the world and got him to, for whatever this horse is, got his confidence rolling on the lead, and the other one was kind of perhaps overconfidently ridden.
But he never picked up any ground.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of ground.
I mean, listen, I've got him second too, and ahead of him. I guess the feeling with Just in Time for Wine is you have to think Henrik Carmouche is going to be aggressive with Smite, and this is something I disagree with the pace projector. The pace projector has Just in Time for Wine in front. Now, to be fair, Just in Time for Wine has sprint speed too, so if Mike Leslie wants to be aggressive, it's accurate. He can be in front of that horse, but maybe they're moving a little bit more this time up front.
Definitely. He's not going to have the same cushy scenario as last time, so I'm with you. I'm with the other one ahead.
Give us your lecture on back charge.
No,
see if I have anything to add.
No real lecture other than I love what the dam has produced, and Jack Milton was a good turf horse, and I respect the barn.
$6,500 seemed like a high price.
It does seem a little bit. He really hasn't, unless I'm missing something.
Did he win the Secretariat?
Did he go that far?
I think he
might have been favored in the race. He might have won it. He might have won.
Is it possible he won our Jamaica? I believe he's a Grade 1 winner.
So. Did he finally get one?
I believe he's a Grade 1 winner, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was a good turf horse, and there's turf pedigree here. The barn is one here, and I'm just not going to, when a dam drops so many turf horses, I'm not saying 10, but there were like 3. They're all winners, right?
There's five turf winners out of 7, and they were good. Splash Phelps was in there. Action Andy, who was a good dirt horse, but a good turf horse as well. Yeah. And the thing about it is the dam was a bad dirt horse. And Phil Schoendahl won here the other day. He shipped up here, and they sort of let Jose Lozcano walk on the front end in the first race here on Monday. But I don't know. It just seems like this is the interesting new player. And I think if you're like us, you want to try to find a new face. Always. This is where you gravitate. I'm dying, though, to hear your lecture on why Legend to Bam on the inside.
I was a little surprised. I think you don't have her in the top 4. I think nowhere for you. The last
you're
race.
Have to tell me what I missed.
Well, the last race is, I think, a complete toss. And I understand he didn't do anything after that initial trouble. But if you watch this horse break, and you watch the first turn, and you watch the action on the first turn, I suppose there should have been some sort of middle move or something to indicate some talent. I get it. But given what he's going against here, and off that trip, and moving to the rail, prices. And I did not know, and I should have about the rails. You get Irad, you move all the way to the rail, which I thought was not going to be changed.
But even on a fair race,
I know, didn't do anything.
You want to be saving ground.
But just check the first up to the first turn of that last. And make
it is odd that Irad's riding this horse, but he did ride him first time. Okay, listen, he's a price. I'm not knocking prices, Ernie, and I agree with you. There's no killers in here.
No.
I mean, it's not as though the 8 and 10. The 8 and 10 are okay, but they're not killers. If the 8, I will say one thing. If the 8 runs his last race, he's probably going to win. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, I just wonder if that's for the reasons you already mentioned. That scenario, I don't see it happening.
I
wonder if David's thinking that with the line.
I don't disagree, but his last race was legitimately good in there.
Yeah. And what you said about the gap, it wasn't as if that other horse was making up ground. I agree.
Jack Milton won the Maker's Mark, which is now the Maker's 46.
But it was always a mile? The Maker's? Was it?
I think so. I think so. Yeah, I think they had the mile race in the spring and the mile race in the fall. That was always, when was the mile race, the Shadwell in the fall, not a mile race?
Couldn't tell you.
You'd know the race. You don't remember?
I don't. They took
the race off the turf. I believe Charlie Presley said he was going to scratch Wise Dan.
Wise Dan, and then you end up going into Ben Ali.
No.
No?
No. He ended up, it was $1 million race. He ended up running in there, and it was the mile and 70 yards because they couldn't run a mile on the Keeneland Poly track.
Wow.
And Dullahan beat him. Dullahan?
Oh, he was a monster on his best.
On his synthetic.
Romans.
Well, Dale beat him, Romans, and I think it was Dullahan.
Wow. He was what a gorgeous animal. Oh, love that horse. Anyway, gorgeous animal.
Dale actually gave me a little credit. He actually was very nice about it because I suggested that they probably should run the P Classic when he was a 3-year-old.
Really?
Yeah.
That race
texted me after the race and said thank you. It was very nice.
Wow.
Yeah. Little piece of information.
That's fantastic.
Breathtaking. Don't you always think of Seinfeld when you say breathtaking?
I should. That actually is
race number
right
5.
From Seinfeld.
I am very curious to discuss your pick, but we'll get to her after we discuss sane possible winners of this race. And we'll discuss it with Veradia. I think the question with Veradia, and I've got her third and you've got her fourth, and I'm going to believe that you and I have the same question. She got good at Delaware.
Right.
Can we really trust her to remain good in New York?
I think she'll remain good. The question is, what does that good mean against our horses, which, you never know. But and I love the barn. It's just that I just think the horses she beat there aren't as good as the ones that. If
Well,
we
also-
shifted some of our horses there, all their buyers would jump as well.
Well, that's what I want. I mean, I don't know when she did go to Laurel and not run that well. If she is
Exactly.
genuinely improved and runs those races, she's probably going to
Gonna win.
Yeah, but. What about Stave Fawn? Do we trust her? I mean, she was not only was here she is getting beaten a nose back here in January, and I do think she's better around one turn, but she was pitiful in her return race in Saratoga. Now Linda's had her off for 3 more months. And the other thing about her race Saratoga I didn't like was she didn't take a nickel that day. The board announced. You remember her last race? That's the race that Irad carried the second horse out. Actually, they went into the studio. They ran through the studio on the apron. The 8th pole, and there was an inquiry, and they left the horse up.
Wow!
And I herded the horse out. It may be one of the greatest herds I've ever seen in horse racing. It's not. It was probably worse than St. Liam and Ghost Zapper, which might be the biggest.
You had to say that. See, now he doesn't want me to get excited. It's like, how could you say that to me and not get my racing libido going?
That was one of the greatest herds in history. What did he carry out? 15 paths.
And that was the one gut check for what's that?
Who was on St. Liam?
The Prado.
Edgar was on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Edgar. Oh, what a race. But the buyer wasn't as high as I would have thought. Who was I sitting with? I thought it was like 121.
Before we get to your insane pick.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be Ernie if it wasn't insane.
Yes.
I'm going to take Cotton Candy Cutie. I think she's a little better going a little shorter, to be fair. But she's run well enough at a mile in the past. I thought if you don't trust the 6 coming in and the 4 can't run anymore, that she's obviously, and I don't think you'll argue that, the logical other horse, and she'll be 3rd choice. She was on a dead rail when she ran 3rd at Saratoga. I thought she ran fine 2 races back. I'm going to give her a shot.
Part of what I'll miss a little bit about really being on top of the authority and being into it every day, the handicapping and the trips, is looking like that barn of the one that, and Mercon.
Cantor Mossy.
Yeah, and every time I look up,
he wins.
The barn,
he wins.
And I don't know enough about this barn, and it kills
Ernie,
me.
if it makes you feel better, he doesn't know anything about you.
Well, that helps. Oh, that doesn't surprise me, though. But you can make money with him. With me, forget it. Because the barn does really well.
I want to hear what you like about Princess Victoria.
The mile is better, the price is better. We'll start with those 2. If you watch the last race, as that at 7 to 10, there's this going on. It was never happy at any point during the race. It's brutal if you bet.
What was she saying to Luis? I want to go extra 3/16 to a mile?
Well, no, I just didn't think the horse was ever happy, and it was, now you're getting a much bigger price to say the least, a better distance. You get Irad. You get Irad at a better price like that, and I know I keep going back to it, but I mean the guy has just been I don't have to tell you.
I just am afraid her form is dissipating.
The only
good race she ran since she left Navarro's Bar, good race, was up at Suffolk in the slop. So I'm just concerned she can't
This is
run
not
anymore.
the same. Yeah.
Once again, she's a price. I don't want to.
Well, I tossed the turf in last race. We'll find out whether she had more than she had because of the trip or she's just not getting.
Unbridled Adventure, a little bit of. Don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Can't believe she was in for 5,000.
I know.
Bruce Levine did very well running this horse in off-the-turf races. Was in Saratoga. He won 2 races in Saratoga with her a couple years ago.
Did he really?
Off-the-turf races, yes, sir. Oof. All right, race number 6. Race number 6, I changed my picks in here. And we'll show the replay that involves First Appeal and Hollywood Cat. And just keep an eye on the number 1 First Appeal. And if it looks like you've seen this before, you have.
That's
it.
it.
I believe that's Stone-tastic up in front, right? First Appeal, no. Oh, no, this is a different race. This is the 7-furlong race. First Appeal was badly blocked 2 back and would have been second in all likelihood. I don't think won 7 furlongs, and the pace completely held together here. So she's the logical horse cutting back to 6 furlongs and getting some relief, but the pace scenario completely changed in this race when Forgotten Hero came out, and now High Jingo, who was oddly underbet last time out in that race in the other race 2 back, she's the lone speed here.
Is she really?
So with a scratch, I put her on top. I was scared that she would have to chase Forgotten Hero, and that would soften her up. But once they scratched Forgotten Hero, I have to pick High Jingle because to me this is a completely different race. As you know, I don't like to change the picks.
No, I know. That's super.
This is a completely different race with Forgotten Hero out, and I just going to take High Jingle to wire the field, and it compromises the 3 First Appeal.
Well, first, listen, if you watch the 2-back race that Andy's talking about, I mean, there's all sorts of trouble. The problem is this horse is not a very sharp breaker under any circumstances. That's just the gait issues. I don't know about issues, but it's not the fastest gait horse. And then there might be an excuse now and then. It's just, and the price is going to be short. So it made me want to go against. And I know the horse is very logical, but also now, if there's no pace to set her table also.
I also would not be concerned if people are concerned that that was 25 last time, this is 40. I wouldn't be concerned. VIP Nation here almost won when they made that crazy decision to rate Sink or Cirque the other day. Theater of the round, do I have second? You have on top. Have at it.
I just back to Joel. Runs best race for Joel. I think 6 is better than 7. Flattens out a little bit going 7. So I think that's
She'll
part
be close.
of it.
Won't she be sitting second here?
I think so. And that was a bit of a tricky post last time. Not really. There's no excuse, but it's a little bit tricky. But I think 6 is better. Dropping inside, dropping closer inside. A better, not a better price, but the horse has never really bet. Good price with Joel. They're all kind of ballparky. I'm not going with the 3 with the Castellano horse, who was very logical. I'd rather go with him.
What about Hannah Smile, who you both left out? Because I don't think you'll argue that Hannah Smile is one of the better horses in here. It's just Michelle Nevin. I
saw a stat.
Did I put the stat up? I don't know if I did. Yeah, I did. 180 days on the turf. She's 2 for 34. I mean, and this is true with Michelle. I love Michelle. I think she's one of our better trainers in the grounds. I think she does a fabulous job. I don't think she does. I know she does, but not off layoff she doesn't.
Yeah, I didn't know that the stat was that strong, but I remember looking at it.
But even on dirt, her layoff numbers aren't good. Yeah,
wow.
They're not as bad as that, but
right.
they're not good. Race number 7. This was one of my stronger opinions on the card. I thought Sneakiness was the controlling speed and would just gallop around the racetrack.
Wow.
Linda obviously disagreed. I scratched into his which doesn't do a lot for me. I've got a Chad Brown. First time for a tag, I didn't put it up. He's 34%, first time in the tag with dirt. $1.82 ROI, which is okay considering the takeout and how much they get bet. I have nothing clever to say.
I just wanted to take a shot with Sergeant Drive. The barn is going well again. When Atlas starts to rat-a-tat-tat, it usually stays that way. Previous 3 one-turn races are really good, and they're better than these. I don't know if he can get back there. There was a stumble at the start last time, but it wasn't a terrible stumble.
Doesn't 1 for 18 bother you, though?
Of course, absolutely. The 3 one-turn races that seem so strong to me, I'm willing to give another shot with the barn that's doing well, but I agree. That 1 for 18, how many times can you keep going there?
I'll give you a couple horses in here I wanted to mention. One of them is the 5 Violent Delights, who I thought ran well 2 back. Obviously was horrendous last time out, but does have some figures that give him a shot. And even the 9 Soul Fight. I thought Soul Fight was a little bit interesting. Maybe didn't want to go the 1 1/8 last time out, and is now in a more realistic spot. The race 2 back, I thought was Soul Fight, gave him a chance. Any thoughts? Monmouth Drive. What do you have as the final time and the figure for his last race, the Beyer?
The Beyers is 77,
right,
which was hard to believe because of the second horse. They all dropped off.
And the final time?
1:43.1.
Yeah, okay. They changed the final time to 43.1. I think the Beyer figure is based on 1:42.1. It was incorrectly transposed off the TV when they did it first. It was a clerical error was made. Ooh. And I think that Beyer figure is probably more like high 60s and not high 70s. I need to call Andy and make sure they've made that adjustment. But
I didn't trust it just because of who would run in that race and what their numbers were before and after.
You look at the numbers. So I think that if you're betting Monmouth Drive off a high 70 Beyer last time, be aware that I haven't talked to Andy, but I'm guessing that the figure will be changed. And I know, see, my paper has 1:42.1 because I printed this. I actually printed this back in July. I had a premonition. I'm kidding. I printed it on, what's today's date? What's it, Thursday? I printed it on
14th?
Saturday. Saturday.
Yeah.
I printed it. All right, just letting people know. Race number 8. I thought race number 8 was a tough one.
What a fun race.
I think I agree, a lot going on in here. I ended up with Spirit Animal. We'll take a look at the last race. I think this was a very strong field that Spirit Animal was in. You got to realize, this was coming off a significant layoff. This horse hadn't been out for 10 months. Was a little wide the second turn here. The entry mate won value proposition by No Swamp Rat is a very good Phil Gleaves horse. And people may not remember Spirit Animal, but he actually ran very well in the Pilgrim, was extremely unlucky because not only did he stumble at the start, he lost the irons, and it just completely took him out of the race. And there's an argument. You're just beeping away over there. It's not your pacemaker, is it, Ernie? I don't want there to be a problem in here. And I know it'll play another Chad Brown horse that's going to be overbet, and I have no problem with that concept. But I really prefer this horse to the other ones in the race, though I think there are a lot of players.
I think they're very interesting, and Clear Vision, the 1 is interesting to me because it's incrementally better. I don't know a lot about the barn, but I like the way this horse has been handled. It's not like as if there are a lot of races to look for at this time of year at this level, and I just think it's kind of an under-radar horse. I don't fear the one.
Yeah, I don't disagree about Clear Vision. I think Clear Vision's a good horse. English Bee and The Last Sip are both talented. I just wonder if the horse is a little slow. Now, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Was some of your pick predicated on maybe thinking the inside was very much the place
No,
to be?
honestly,
Okay,
no.
that's fair.
Honestly, that's the truth. And I wondered if that pace was also a little pace. What's the word I used to use? Pace compromise last time.
I don't
a little
know.
Bit.
Maybe it's not.
That
This
was
is
in
the
my
only
mind
horse
too as
that
I'm
made a
watching the
significant
race.
run. No, you're right.
You know?
No, I can't argue with that.
The horse
That's
is an
very
interesting
fair.
horse to me. Very interesting.
But yeah, I agree. I think this horse is interesting too. I just don't know if he's good enough. That's my concern.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree. I mean, he's going to be a big price, and I think he's going to run well. I just don't know how good he is. Now, what do you do with Everyone Loves James and Chantry Flats? Well, look at Chantry Flats winning. And this, I thought that Chantry Flats was more of a router. But chased going a mile, and it's not like the speed in here, even though the horse is 1,000,000 to 1, a Luch horse. And I've told Luch next time he runs a horse in New York, I'll go to the jocks room and wear his colors. I lost a bet to him. It's hard to believe. I must be the only person on earth that lost a bet to Luch. I'm not sure this horse can't win back because going to be stalking Everyone Loves James. And I think Everyone Loves James can also win, but I'm a little worried that Everyone Loves James. I know they're an excuse for last time. I thought the 7-furlong race was pretty weak, but maybe 2 turns will help.
I don't know. I was a little surprised. I was a little surprised at the line. As David has a lot of that he's going to get that. So you think this horse is going to be about the same price?
I think that Everyone Loves James and Chantry Flats are both major players this race. You and I saw this race very differently.
My horse might be slow.
Yeah, you've got Road to Meath third. See, I don't think Road to Meath has a prayer. I think the horse got a perfect trip against horses that would be 50 to 1 in this race.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
But
I know we're running out of time, but the value.
We're going to talk about this race.
Okay, let me ask you. Can I
we have
just
the
ask you about
handicap for the people.
Value proposition horse, the horse you picked who ran against value proposition. Was there any excuse for value proposition in that stakes race when he didn't run well? That's what I'm perplexed about.
Well, that was the race before it.
Yeah, the race before. I was just wondering.
He went to the lead.
So you think that it was a bad day to be on the lead?
No, I think it was the bad horse to be on the lead. I want to talk about other horses here.
Yeah.
Conviction Trade, the 2. Conviction Trade comes out of a race where there was an accident in the stretch.
Yes.
But having said that, this horse got completely left and still ran by the field and ran a big figure. I don't know how much I'm relying on it coming back, but on the surface, this horse ran first time. You can't discount this horse completely. What about Blockade? I know it was a distant second to analyze it, and Shug's numbers off long layoffs, they're okay. He's actually 2 for 6 in the turf off a year-plus layoff.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's got to improve a lot, but in theory, he could have improved.
I thought about that stat, and I didn't even have to look it up. I remember him doing it off a mile and a quarter after a year layoff. No doubt, I have no concerns about that at all. Just about, how good the horse is, but Jose Ortiz is named, and I guess he did run against it. He was far back. He was far behind, analyze it, but I have confidence in Shug, no doubt about that.
Even Gauguin. It's funny that Gauguin is back because Gauguin was a horse that Anthony and I were trying to remember his name about 2 weeks ago in this race, the bring back from closing day at Belmont. It's one of the last ones. The only one that didn't come back is Complexity.
Wow.
Yeah, didn't come back. But anyhow, I don't know. He's kind of a plotter and he likes to run second, but he has some talent.
Yes, he does.
All right, race number 9. Let's take a look at the race that Silver Token, Exchange Fever, and Sporting Art come out of, and then we'll quickly go to Alfalfa thereafter. I don't think there's any doubt that Silver Token ran the best race near, broke a length slow, which stayed along in the backstretch, and really ran the stretch. I guess the question is how strong you think that race was.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I thought the horse did run very well, and
he should have won.
After I'm watching this race, and I'm like, wow, the horse.
I bet him, and I didn't even realize how unlucky I was until I was watching the replay a couple of times.
Brutal. And then but then I saw the 2 lines, and I'm still wondering you'd really want to hang your hat on a horse with that style. Doesn't look like the horse is going to be closer next time, this time or any time. It just seems to be himself. But
the other Linda horse is where I went Alfalfa, and I bet him last time. He had a monster trip 2 back. I think less distance is better. I think if you look at Alfalfa, he looked like a winner here, and I think he just fell apart in the final furlong to a half furlong in here. I honestly think this horse will benefit a great deal from cutting back to 6 furlongs.
Very interesting. No, it's a very interesting angle. I get a little scared off by horses that aren't sharp breakers, but your reasoning sure makes a lot of sense, no doubt about it.
Who'd you pick here, Ernie?
I went with number 8, Captain Courageous. If you watch this last race, he was kind of caught leaving the gate and left the screen. I mean, this wasn't like veered, went to open space. This was really left the screen. I mean, severely compromised. You look at his other races, very much in this race. I think he's a big price on the line, very ballparky. I mean,
No, I've got him. I think I've got him fourth, and I agree. I think to clear the ramp isn't impossible in here. Listen, Exchange Fever obviously can win this race. Sporting Art isn't totally impossible. He was 3 wide and didn't run badly last time.
No.
I think there's a lot going on here. Even Millionaire Joe isn't totally ridiculous coming off a long layoff. We'll see. We're out of time. Ernie, thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
Great job. Great to have
Always
you here.
fun to be here.
Always good to see you. But I do see more of you than most people do. Johnny I up next with the reprise of Scratches and Changes.